Week 11 waiver wire targets and streaming options. Let's get into it, baby. What is up, everybody? Welcome into the Fantasy Tap. My name is Michael, and this here is John. John, how are you doing today?
Ready for a week 11, pushing my way into some playoffs. Getting excited. The season's more than halfway done. It's starting to wind down. Got to make sure you get those rosters right, get those injuries taken care of.
Yeah, I'm not even gonna lie. These last 2 weeks have really hurt me in fantasy football wise. It's been rough. I've got in my redraft leagues, I've got a lot of shares of a lot of stacks of DeAndre Hopkins and Kyler Murray. Especially the ones that I'm heavily invested in, including the zero running back strategy, which I have to come out with a video this week because life came at John and I pretty fast, and we've been a little busy. So that's one thing that suffered. So I will make a video this week on how it's been. It's not been going good. Just a heads up. I could win today. I need Van Jefferson, Brandon Ayuk, and George Kittle to score 9 points less than Darrell Henderson.
You got this.
Or no, they can only score 9 points more total.
Oh, never mind.
They can only score 9 points more total.
You don't got this, Mike.
Well, you never know. If Van Jefferson and Brandon Ayuk put up a dud and George Kittle, doesn't do much, and Darrell Henderson does really good.
It's not going to happen, though. I got Brandon Ayuk playing today, and I need him to outscore Eli Mitchell, George Kittle. Not George Kittle.
All right. So we both need George Kittle to do bad.
Yes, but I need Brandon Ayuk to do pretty well. So
okay, he can do pretty well. But I'm up 9 points. I have Darrell Henderson. He has Van Jefferson, Brandon Ayuk, George Kittle. So little cushion. Let's have Van Jefferson, George Kittle to do poop, Brandon Ayuk to do 14 points, and even if Darrell Henderson gives me 8, I'll be okay.
Well, these people already know what happened, so they're going to be judging us already. Let's go. OBJ's first game.
Yeah, I think they kind of show him off. But anyways, let's get into what we're here for, and that is waiver wire targets and additions and streamers and this and that. We got quarterbacks, we got running backs, wide receivers, tight ends, and even defenses. But before we get into that, make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, hit the little bell icon. Let's go. Bye weeks. Don't forget it. Broncos and Rams. Quarterbacks. Let's jump into it.
Ooh, I like who you got up here already. First guy off the board, Tua Tagovailoa.
Yes, sir.
Coming off that win for the Rams, kind of earned his spot. The Ravens. Sorry, it's going to be the Rams eventually. Super Bowl time. But Tua did's coming off that win against the Ravens right now. And if you watched any part of the game, the Dolphins offense was looking very stagnant in the first half. And then the second half, when Tua, who was for some reason not playing, apparently due to some hand injury that did not look like it was affecting him too much in the pregame warmups, came in and kind of took that game by storm, put some points on the board, looked like a solid offense, and made some good plays. Brian Flores did say he will be starting Sunday. So yes, glad the team's starting to back their quarterback they drafted last year.
Hopefully it's long-term. Yes, I agree. Playing up against the Jets, I think it's a great, beautiful matchup for him. No Will Fuller this week, no Devontae Parker, but he hasn't had him all year. I'm not too worried about it. He's had a couple quarterback one finishes. And I think he's going to have a great week. I think he's going to ball out. So very excited for Tua. Also, the quarterback pickup of the week, Cam Newton, only owned in 12.6% of leagues. 2 of his 4 touches were touchdowns. So, he's not going to keep that pace up. 15% touchdown percentage. But he's definitely going to be a big part of that offense. And he's going to be their starting quarterback going forward this year. And in my opinion, even in dynasty leagues, pick him up. I think he's going to have a year or two in extra in Carolina until they can find a quarterback for the future.
Yeah, I think he might find himself in a similar situation like he just did in New England this offseason, though, where they'll probably draft a guy with expectations of him being their starter next year. And hopefully it's not someone like Mac Jones where Belichick just says, you know what, hey, we're just going to start the rookie week 1. But I do think that he is a great play. Pick him up, play him if you have to. Just remember last season, he started off really, really hot for the Patriots, was a QB1 for the first couple of weeks. And then as soon as COVID hit him and he came back, he was not looking good at all. And I love Cam Newton, but he did lose his job to Mac Jones, to the future possibly. But grab him. Don't let anyone else take him, because if he is playing at his superstar level, then you're going to want him on your bench or your team and not on someone else's.
100%. So really excited for that. Like I said, quarterback pickup of the week. Let's move on over to the running backs. This guy is owned in less or more than 50% of leagues, but not by much, 59.6% of leagues. He's going to be a running back 1 the next 2 weeks while Aaron Jones is out, and that is A.J. Dillon. Had a great showing with limited Aaron Jones because he did get hurt in the game. So A.J. Dillon, pick him up, especially if you're the Aaron Jones owner. If you're the Aaron Jones owner, you probably should have already had him. But I can't point fingers because I have Aaron Jones and I did not have A.J. Dillon. So pick him up if you can.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with you there. I think he's in for a solid start. He's been putting up more than 10 points most of the times that he's getting more than 10 touches. And then against Kansas City, he only got 8 and was able to go for almost 50 yards. Has been getting a decent amount of pass catching work, and then does fill that Aaron Jones role almost like a mirror. It's a very, very solid perfect handcuff situation.
Yep. So the next guy on our list, and that is going to be, and I would say these are pretty much in order. Ramondre Stevenson, only owned in 29.1% of leagues, carried the ball 20 times this week against a stout Cleveland defense, put up 100 yards. So he averaged 5 yards a carry, 2 rushing touchdowns, caught 4 passes on 5 targets for 14 yards. Not the best yards per catch, but hey, he's still got the PPR points. And he's playing an Atlanta Falcons defense this coming week. As long as he gets his touches, I'm worried that he goes back because Damian Harris should be back next week, but I'm worried about his touches going forward. But hopefully Bill Belichick saw enough to keep him on the field and getting at least 10 to 12 touches.
Yeah, I think that he's in for a solid role rest of the season. Brandon Bolden went out questionable, showed up to practice with an injured hip this week. So even if we do see the return of Damian Harris, we might see Ramondre Stevenson have more of a share as that second committee role. It seems like New England runs with Damian Harris first and whoever we feel like running in this second. Somebody else, whoever's closest to Belichick when he throws his hand back is the guy that goes in. Just throws his arm back there. The guys just stick their face mask in the hand and he rips them in there. So I think Ramondre has kind of proven it. You saw him in the preseason too. He was the best NFL player in the world when it comes to preseason football.
Yeah,
so
true. Our next 2 running backs are both Eagles running backs. That is Jordan Howard at 37.9% owned and Boston Scott at 34.9% owned. Listen, this is my take on these guys. They're flex options, and you hope your guy gets that touchdown or gets the majority of the catches or touches. Boston Scott had 11 rushes, 2 targets and 2 catches, and Jordan Howard had 12 catches. We didn't see Jordan Howard. Boston Scott got the initial bulk of the work, and then Jordan Howard started seeing his shares. Neither of them, or both of them, were pretty efficient on the ground. None of them got in the end zone. But like I said, I think they're risky flexes moving forward, and you hope your guy has, a touchdown. And they're playing New Orleans this week, which is not a good matchup at all. So they're kind of really teetering on that low-end flex option or low-end running back 2 if you need it, like that running back 2 spot if you need it. So that's kind of my take there.
Yeah, I think you're right on point there. Miles Sanders was put on IR 16 days ago, so could be seeing him in the next, not this week, but the upcoming week or possibly even further out. So yeah, having one piece of this running back group could be very beneficial for you. It's just kind of sad to see that Kenneth Gainwell's come and gone so quickly and then pushed into a third role.
Yeah. Well, he was supposed to be that complimentary back to Miles Sanders, but it is what it is at this point. So our next contestant on The Price is Right is Deontay Foreman, 1.6% owned, had 11 touches, 2 catches, wasn't efficient in the run game. So I don't expect him to get a ton of touches this week. However, he is going up against the Houston Texans, which is a nice matchup. He falls under the category of a deep, desperate flex option for me this week. And hopefully he does get 10 plus carries and can get a little more efficient on the ground.
Yeah, he was using that short line, the short yardage and goal line situations. So I do think the touchdowns are very possible for him in this offense, especially with no Derrick Henry. It was most surprising for me that it wasn't Adrian Peterson and it wasn't Jeremy McNichols that was getting the most carries out of this offense. Foreman did look pretty good when he was playing for Houston a couple years ago. Hopeful that he could have taken over a role there. It's great to see him get another shot here. And I do think that he's someone that could take advantage of it, especially if we see Peterson get hurt or just not get back up to speed or McNichols slow down a little bit. But again, that could happen to him too and would give these other guys some value. I think this is just a speculative hold. Don't play the guy, but if you got empty roster spots, it's definitely someone you might want on your bench for a worst case play.
Yeah. Moving on, Wayne Gallman of the Atlanta Falcons playing a pretty tough New England defense this week. This is a name we actually talked about at the beginning or during draft season. He had 15 touches or 15 carries, 1 reception on 2 targets, averaged 3.67 yards per carry. He is more active than Mike Davis, so that's always a good thing. It seems like he's taken over that role. Cordero Patterson did get a little banged up, has a sprained ankle, so he only saw 4 rushes and 1 catch, which could be a big reason as to why Wayne Gallman is or was being used as much. But definitely a name you want to add. Don't rush after this guy, but if Cordero Patterson, he was limited, but maybe this ankle lingers a little bit. And Wayne Gallman, Mike Davis is not the answer. We've seen that. So maybe Wayne Gallman gets his touches. He was a pretty effective running back last year in Saquon Barkley's absence.
Yeah, I think Gallman's in for some sort of. Again, this is another one of those speculative holds. It's keep an eye on. This isn't someone I would even if you have to spend any waiver budget or you're sitting at a 5 or 6-man bench, don't even look at this player. But keep an eye on them and see what happens in the future. If he does take over the role for Mike Davis and we see Cordero Patterson take on more of a receiver role, it could lead into Wayne Gallman having a couple of usable weeks at some point this season. So again, just speculative, keep your eye on him and see what happens.
All right. Let's move on over to the wide receivers. First up is Michael Galb, 52.3%. Didn't see a ton of targets. I think he only saw 5 this week, but he was also coming off a pretty long-term injury. He's on IR since week 1. So saw 5 targets, caught three of them for 42 yards. And I think he's going to continue to have a role in this offense. That Tampa Bay game, he came out like guns a-blazing. 7 targets, only 4 catches, but he was getting targeted quite a bit, especially when they had CeeDee Lamb and Amari Cooper there. So I think with as much as they pass the ball, there's going to be room for that third receiver. Only played 53% of the snaps, so I do see that going up and trending up and having a nice potentially a nice flex option down the road. And especially if one of the big time receivers get hurt, he could really find himself in a really nice spot.
Yeah, I like him if you are as a bench receiver, kind of like a handcuff for if you're an Amari or a CeeDee Lamb holder, because I feel like his real value really comes up when one of those guys are going to be out. He does get a sizable target share in the games that he has played with Dak Prescott in, and CeeDee and Amari, but we haven't seen enough of it for me to really be confident in how that offense is going to work with all 4 of those weapons. I do like some of the other guys on our list, but I think that Gallup is a good hold player.
Yeah. Let's move on. This might be my favorite receiver to pick up.
This might be my least favorite, but best receiver to pick up.
Yeah. Well, okay. Yes. Yeah. I don't love him, but I like his fantasy value or potential fantasy value with Cam Newton coming back. And that is Robbie Anderson, owning 51.6% of leagues. Saw 6 targets this week, 4 catches, 37 yards, and a touchdown from Cam Newton. As soon as Cam Newton got picked up, one of the things, and John and I actually talked about this on the Saturday live stream. We actually think that Robbie could find his way into a nice target share and potential end of the year spike in targets and fantasy value. He has a pretty nice schedule moving forward. Washington, Miami. He does have a bye in week 13. But then he's got Atlanta. He does play Buffalo, but then he plays Tampa Bay as well in New Orleans in the championship week. So back and forth last couple of weeks, but from now until like week 14, other than his bye, he's definitely, somebody to keep an eye on.
Yeah, we saw it last season. He almost, or I think he was 1,000-yard receiver last season, a top 24 in fantasy. And he is great on that deep ball. Cam Newton can move the ball downfield if he needs to. He does have a big arm, bigger than Sam Darnold had. And maybe we're going to be seeing Robbie Anderson get used a little bit. And like Mike said, what scared me the most, I've been someone that's been really down on Robbie Anderson all season. And literally first play Cam Newton's in is a Robbie Anderson touchdown. And my heart sank. But
well,
I know
that
second
play. That was the second.
Okay, it was the second play. Then still hurt me. But I know that he is probably going to be getting a lot. He's at least in a better position with Cam Newton there right now than he has been all season, and he's been 100%. Someone that's been on the waivers available for a majority of the season as well.
Yeah. So, Darnell Mooney, okay, 46.4% owned. Somebody we've been talking about, and really this comes down to target share. He's coming off of a bye. He has a very tough matchup this week, but then he plays Detroit and Arizona. Nice couple matchups there. And I think that Justin Fields is we saw it in the Pittsburgh game, starting to, grow into his own. Matt Nagy's not holding him back. So like to see it. And he's definitely the number 1 receiver on that team. Allen Robinson is just not there.
No.
Or something.
He's being shut down.
No.
Yeah, I really like Mooney here. He's like you're saying, obviously the number 1 receiver here, and Fields has been showing a lot better production over these past 4 weeks than he has in the first 4 starts that he got. Almost like a script has been flipped. If it wasn't for the turnovers against Tampa Bay, he would have had a pretty decent day.
Yeah,
maybe it's not terrible.
Elijah Moore. Mike White and them did not have the best day, but Elijah Moore squeaked out a usable week and got a touchdown. But the good thing is the last 4 weeks, we've seen 6 or more targets every week, which is exactly what you want to see. Playing Miami, Houston, Philadelphia the next 3 weeks, then Miami and Jacksonville weeks 15 and 16, and Tampa Bay week 17. Great matchups coming up down the road for Elijah Moore. Weeks that the Jets should be able to hang in there and at least score some points. And some yards. So Elijah Moore, I think he's the best, in my opinion. He's the most talented receiver on this team. He's one of my favorites coming out of this wide receiver class, and it just sucks he landed here, but that's besides the point. But yeah, so Elijah Moore, pick him up.
Yeah, I think Elijah Moore is without a doubt the best receiving option on that team. It's kind of funny. The Jets' best players are 2 rookies that they drafted, and it wasn't in the first round this year. But I think that Elijah Moore is someone that, even when we see Zach Wilson come back in, still going to be getting some sort of a target share. I believe that we will be seeing Wilson come back this week after Mike White was not able to live up to the expectations the world put on his shoulders. Not everyone's able to be a franchise quarterback after throwing a 400-yard game. Yeah. Mike White apparently was not able to do that. But hey, I think that when Wilson comes in, that we're going to see Elijah Moore continue to be peppered with targets and be that team's number 1.
Sweet. And then We've got two more for you guys. That is the first one's Rashad Bateman, 32.5% owned. Wait, did we talk about him or no?
Bateman?
No, we didn't.
No.
Yeah, okay. I was about to say, because I was thinking Elijah Moore and his target share. I thought we were saying the same thing about Rashad Bateman, because it's true. They've literally had almost identical target share or targets the last 4 weeks of 4 games for each other. 6, 6, 8, and 8, and then Elijah Moore has 6, 6, 8, and 6. So I got a little confused there. Rashad Bateman did well this week. 80 yards, 13.3 per catch. He's going to be a focal point of that offense. The more he gets in, the more he's going to be used. And he, like I said, he's just seeing such consistent work. Love to see it. So I'm excited for Rashad Bateman in the back half of the year.
I would have to agree with you. He has only been taking more and more steps since coming back. And it looks to be, especially after Sammy Watkins' terrible fumble that probably was the momentum that lost him the game. You expect Lamar to start wanting to focus a little bit more on the future of that offense in Hollywood and Bateman.
Yeah. So, now we've got somebody who is playing as we speak. Let's see how it's going.
They are losing.
Shoot. George Kittle has a touchdown. This is no good. Van Jefferson has yet to be targeted. Odell Beckham already has 2 targets and a catch. Van Jefferson is somebody to watch out for. Watch this game. Obviously, we're not fortune tellers or future seers because the game's going on. So watch to see what Van Jefferson's usage is, and see if he is worth a pickup. If he gets 5 or more targets, in my opinion, I think he's worth a pickup. If he's at 8, he's a must. You must get him.
Yeah, if he's getting anywhere close to 15% of that target share, he's a must grab.
And he's at 55.1% owned. So all right. Let's move on to the tight ends. Somebody we've been talking the last couple of weeks, hoping he comes off of IR. That's Logan Thomas, only owned in 49.1% of leagues. So pick him up. I mean, we've talked about him a ton. I don't think we have to go too deep into it.
No, and Ricky Seals-Jones was banged up this week too. So if there was any reason for them to take Logan Thomas off IR and throw him in the game, it's going to be now.
Yeah. Dan Arnold, owned in 28% of leagues. He's kind of like their number 1 receiver, pretty much.
He's kind of an absolute monster. He's getting targeted like crazy. They've been throwing the ball to him in the red zone. He, like you said, the most targeted player on that team the past 3 weeks now. Kind of a monster and an offensive weapon.
Yeah. So, definitely somebody to keep an eye on. He could finish the year as a tight end 1. Currently he's at tight end 18. And he's got a nice schedule. San Fran, Atlanta. He has LA and Tennessee, which sucks. But then he goes to Houston, New York Jets, and New England. So, definitely games he could show out in. His issue right now is no touchdowns. So I'm hoping that he gets in the end zone in the last half of the year a couple times.
Yeah, that'd be great for him.
Yep. Tyler Conklin, only owned in 38.3% of leagues. Had that, honestly, right when it was a 4th down play. I don't know if you saw it, John. 4th down play. Kirk Cousins was scrambling a little bit. He was about to get hit or sacked, and he just threw a little duck right, like 5 yards, because they're only on like the 5 or 8 yard line, right into the back of the end zone. And I thought it wasn't even going to make to Tyler Conklin, and he dove and he got it. It was nice.
He's an athlete, man.
Yeah,
he's an athlete. He's very athletic for a guy out of Minnesota that you don't expect a lot out of. He has had 3 weeks so far as a top 10 tight end. So I think he's someone that you want to keep an eye on. He's, again, another tight end that's highly targeted in that offense. They seem to like to get the ball to him. And we all remember Irv Smith had a role carved out for him early in this offseason that just didn't happen due to injuries, and they just passed it right on to the next guy. I'm really excited for Conklin rest of the season. And I think he's one of those little sneaky tight ends. He is tight end 10 right now, which is spectacular.
In PPR, yeah, crazy. That two touchdown game really is, really helped him. 2 of his 3 catches were touchdowns, so keep that in mind. But he's been seeing yards and catches in almost every other game.
This week they like to use him in the short game for some reason when they've been using him in like the mid range.
Yeah. So, and then finally, John, you know what? You were talking crap about this guy. This guy goes off. Let's have you talk about him.
Yeah, I actually added him to the list right before we started, because you got to respect when people start making the moves in the right direction here. Cole Kmet's kind of taken a big step forward over the past 3 weeks, especially as we've been watching Justin Fields kind of step into his own. And maybe that's some of the reason that I gave him a lot of crap early on, saying that he's not going to be the guy because he didn't have the tight end or the quarterback to be throwing him the ball. Since week 6, he's been getting 5 or more targets. Outside of week 8, he's been getting 4 or more catches, and has not been the most spectacular tight end, but these proper steps going forward, especially with Robinson not making the right moves, not able to get open and not making the catches. If we see more of Cole Kmet getting these consistent target shares and maybe getting some more of these better catches, I think he's a tight end that could be talented enough to make a big step forward by the end of the season, sneak in from a high end tight end 3 to a high end tight end 2 by total season stats.
Yeah. Dope. All righty. Let's get into our defenses, and then we'll get out of here. Miami showing out against the Ravens this week. They're going up against the Jets. They're only on 15.5% of leagues. Definitely streamable. Tennessee, who's been playing lights out. Really not surprised, but I guess surprised, because last year their defense was not good. They've been playing very well also. They're going up against Houston, only owned in 45.8% of leagues. That's probably the defense I would want to own if I could. If not, I would go Miami. And then Philadelphia is another one, interesting one, playing against the Trevor Siemian-led New Orleans Saints, only owned in 10.5% of leagues. How would you rank these, John? Because mine would be 10 Miami, Phil.
I think that it's going, for me, it's Miami versus then Tennessee, then Houston. Tyrod's going to be getting a second start back, and I do think that we can expect him to be a little bit better. And so kind of scares me a little bit against Tennessee. The Jets have been allowing turnovers in every single game, leading the league in turnover, or I guess trailing the league in turnover differential. And with Miami's offense being a very turnover-friendly defense, I think it's a great game for fantasy points as far as playing your defense. I do sneakily like the Eagles as a sneaky play this week against New Orleans Saints. They're another team that's been very good at getting the turnovers, very good at capitalizing on those turnovers as far as scoring on them. And they actually are the 12th ranked defense in fantasy football right now. So I think that if you need to stream a defense to get by this week, there's someone that can do it for you. They're not a super hot play. They're not going to be a great, amazing play, but they are streamable.
So, John, I have bad news. Matt Stafford, minus 3.4 points, 2 interceptions, including a pick 6.
Yeah, I just saw that pick 6 happen. Tyler Higbee bobbled the ball.
Shit. Who did?
Tyler Higbee.
Freaking Higbee, bro. All right. Well, we're out of here. We're going to have some Monday Night Football to watch. Guys, I hope you enjoy it. I hope you enjoyed this even more. If you think we missed anybody, let us know in the comments. Let us know what you want to see also in the comments. We love you. John, you want to say anything?
All right, guys. Appreciate you guys joining in for us. Don't forget the Discord link that's going to be down in the bio or down in the description below. And make sure to be around for all the episodes. Hit that bell icon so you guys know when we're going live. You guys can join in and get some instant answers as far as your fantasy football teams, or just hang out and chill with the boys.
Yep.
Appreciate y'all.
Be on the lookout for Twitter. We do go live very randomly. And we'll let you know. All right, guys. Love you.